Our world is basically run by these invisible rules. Algorithms, they're everywhere. They pick our music, they decide on our loans, they even help doctors spot diseases. But how much do we really, truly trust them? Today, we're going to dive into that very question by unpacking Hannah Fry's brilliant book, Hello World, to figure out how we can stay human in this age of the machine.
So let's just get right to it. This is the big question of our time, isn't it? When the stakes are really high, who do you want calling the shots on your fate? A human with all their biases and gut feelings, or a cold, calculating algorithm with all of its logic and its own hidden blind spots? It's a tough one. Let's dig in.
All right, so first up, the algorithm's promise. We've got to start here because honestly, their power and efficiency are just incredible.
So what is an algorithm really? Well, at its heart, it's just a recipe. Seriously, it's a set of instructions to get something done, like baking a cake or following your GPS. Super simple concept, right? But when you give that recipe to a computer that can follow billions of steps a second, well, that's when they become powerful enough to literally change the world. And I mean, nothing shows off that raw power like this showdown. Back in 1997, the whole world was watching as IBM's Deep Blue, a machine that could analyze 200 million chess moves per second, beat the reigning world champion Garry Kasparov. This was human genius versus pure computational power, and for the first time, the machine won. This wasn't just a game, it was a huge sign of a massive shift on the horizon. And this promise goes way, way beyond games. In medicine, for instance, some algorithms can now spot cancer cells in medical scans with over 95% accuracy. That's often better than even expert human doctors. I mean, when you're talking about saving lives, that kind of performance isn't just a good argument for the machine, it's almost a command. Okay, so that's the upside. But with all this incredible power comes a pretty big hidden cost. See, the fuel for these algorithms is data. And that data carries all the baggage of our own messy, imperfect world. This is the dark side of data. And the single biggest problem here is bias. We love to think of computers as perfectly objective and logical, but they're only as good as the data we feed them. And our data? It's just a mirror of our own history, warts and all. So bias isn't some kind of computer glitch. It's a human pattern that the algorithm learns and, as we're about to see, can actually lock into place. And this is where it gets really dangerous, because it creates this chain reaction. An algorithm learns from the past to make predictions about the future. But what if the past was deeply unfair? Take something like the justice system. If you train an algorithm on historical arrest data, and that data comes from a history of biased policing, the algorithm is going to learn that bias. The machine isn't being malicious, it's just doing the job we gave it. But its job then becomes to amplify that bias, creating a feedback loop that can make inequality even worse. And this forces us to accept a really critical truth. An algorithm doesn't have its own values, but its creator sure does. The choice of what data to use, what the goal should be, what success even looks like, these aren't technical decisions. No, they are moral ones. And we're embedding those moral judgments right into the code that's starting to run our lives. Okay, so that leads us to what is maybe the thorniest problem of the whole lot. Trying to translate our messy, complicated human ethics into cold, hard computer code. And here it is, the modern-day trolley problem. This isn't just a fun thought experiment for a philosophy class anymore. It's a real-world engineering problem that someone, right now, has to solve. A self-driving car finds itself in a no-win scenario. It has to make a choice in a split second. So what do we program it to do? I mean, just look at this choice. It's awful. Does the car swerve, protecting the people on the sidewalk, but sacrificing its own passenger? Or does it protect its owner and stay the course, hitting the group? And who gets to make that call? The person who bought the car? The programmer? The government? There are no easy answers here. And for the first time in human history, we have to try and agree on a single moral code that can be written into software. So, if algorithms can't be perfect, and we humans are obviously flawed, then what's the answer? Well, Hannah Fry argues it's not about picking one over the other. The real future is about designing better partnerships. This is about putting the human in the machine. The solution that's proposed is this design philosophy called human in the loop. And it's actually a pretty smart idea. This isn't about just letting the machine run wild on its own. It's about creating a true partnership. The algorithm can do all the heavy lifting, sifting through millions of data points in a second. But a human expert is always there to supervise, to handle those tricky edge cases, and to make the final call when real judgment is required. The goal here is pretty simple. Get the best of both worlds. We let the machine do what it does best, which is tireless, consistent analysis of just massive amounts of data. And we empower the human to do what we do best: understand context, show empathy, and make those really difficult moral judgments. It's not a competition, it's a collaboration. That's the key.
So what should you take away from all this? Well, Fry leaves us with a kind of toolkit for navigating this new world. First, we have to demand transparency. We deserve to know how these systems that affect our lives actually work. Second, we have to ensure there is always meaningful human oversight. And third, and this is so important, we must always value human judgment, especially when the stakes are high.
At the end of the day, this all leaves us with one profound challenge. For decades, the entire conversation around technology has been about what computers can do. But now, the question we all have to ask is what they should do. Our greatest test isn't just about building smarter machines, it's about becoming wiser humans and deciding together what kind of world we want those machines to help us create.